Imagine if, instead of aiming for drastic changes, you focused on improving just 1% each day. Sounds insignificant, right? But this is the essence of the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Today, we're going to dive deep into this concept and discover how small changes can lead to extraordinary results. James Clear is a renowned author and expert in habits and continuous improvement. His journey began after a severe accident that nearly took his life. During his recovery, he realized the power of small habits in rebuilding his health and career. Motivated by this personal experience, Clear dedicated years to researching and writing about how habits shape our lives, culminating in the bestseller Atomic Habits. But why is this book so important? In a world where we are constantly bombarded with promises of quick fixes and radical transformations, Clear reminds us that true progress comes from small, consistent improvements. He challenges the idea that big changes require grand actions, showing that, in reality, it's the small daily actions that accumulate and produce significant results over time. The key insight of Atomic Habits is simple. By focusing on 1% improvement daily, you can become 37 times better over a year. This approach emphasizes the importance of systems and processes over specific goals. Instead of focusing solely on the end result, Clear encourages us to refine the daily habits that will lead us there. To illustrate this concept, think of a plane taking off from Los Angeles headed for New York. If the pilot adjusts the route by just 3.5 degrees south, the plane will end up landing in Washington, D.C. Small changes in trajectory can lead to completely different destinations. Similarly, small adjustments in our daily habits can radically transform our lives. Now, let's explore the key lessons from the book and how to apply them in our daily routines. Lesson 1. The power of small changes. James Clear highlights that we underestimate the impact of small daily actions. Often, we believe that only big changes can lead to success, but it's the small actions, accumulated over time, that produce the most significant results. To apply this idea, start with small, specific changes. For example, if you want to be more active, begin by walking for 10 minutes every day. Gradually increase the duration and intensity. This approach makes change more sustainable and less overwhelming. A common mistake is trying to implement drastic changes all at once, which often leads to abandoning new practices. Instead, by focusing on small, consistent improvements, you build a solid foundation for continuous growth. Think about your own life. What small changes can you implement today that, when accumulated, could lead to significant transformations in the future? Lesson 2. The importance of systems over goals. Clear argues that bad habits are not your fault but rather the result of the system you use. Creating an effective system for new habits is essential for success. To implement this strategy, use habit stacking. Pair a new habit with an existing routine. For example, do a few stretches right after brushing your teeth in the morning. This technique makes it easier to incorporate new behaviors into your daily routine. Many people make the mistake of focusing exclusively on goals without considering the systems that support them. Without an effective system, even the best intentions can fail. Reflect on your current goals. Do you have systems in place that support these goals? If not, how can you develop them? Lesson 3. Identity and habits. Lasting habit changes come from a shift in identity. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, focus on who you want to become. Adopt a new identity based on your goals. Instead of saying, "I want to exercise," say, "I am an active person." This perspective shift aligns your habits with the person you want to be. A common mistake is setting goals without considering whether they align with your identity. This can lead to internal conflicts and a lack of motivation. Consider, do your daily actions reflect the person you want to become? If not, what adjustments can you make to align your habits with your desired identity? Lesson 4. The habit system. Cue, craving, response, and reward. Clear explains that habits follow a 4-step structure. Cue, craving, response, and reward. Understanding this structure is crucial for shaping behaviors. To create a new habit, identify a clear cue, associate it with a craving, establish a response, the habit itself, and ensure there is a satisfying reward. For example, if your goal is to read more, the cue can be bedtime, the craving is relaxation, the response is reading a chapter, and the reward is the feeling of calmness. Many people try to establish new habits without considering this structure, which can lead to failure in implementation. Think of a habit you want to develop. How can you apply this 4-step structure to increase your chances of success? Lesson 5. The compound effect of habits. Small, consistent changes can lead to significant results over time. Focusing on improving just 1% each day can lead to a massive transformation. To apply this lesson, start with small daily improvements. For example, if you want to improve your diet, add an extra serving of vegetables to your meals. Over time, these small changes accumulate, leading to a healthier lifestyle. A common mistake is underestimating the power of small changes and seeking drastic transformations that are often unsustainable. Reflect on areas of your life where small improvements can be implemented. What actions can you start today that, accumulated over time, will lead to big results? Lesson 6. Adjust your environment. Your environment has a significant impact on your habits. Creating an environment that makes good habits easier and bad habits harder is essential. Organize your space to promote good habits. For example, leave your workout clothes in plain sight to remind yourself to exercise. This simple change can significantly increase the likelihood of following through on the desired habit. Many people don't realize how their environment influences their behaviors and, as a result, fail to make the necessary adjustments to support their goals. Look at your current environment. Is it set up to support the habits you want to build? Lesson 7. The 2-minute rule. When trying to build new habits, we often fail because we make the process too complex or demanding. James Clear proposes the 2-minute rule. A new habit should be so easy that it's impossible to ignore. If you want to start reading more, for example, commit to reading just 1 page a day. If you want to exercise, start by putting on your workout clothes. The goal is to make the initial step so simple that psychological resistance disappears. The logic behind this is that starting an action is the hardest part. Once started, it's much easier to continue. If your goal is to run 5 kilometers, just putting on your running shoes and stepping outside can be the push you need to actually go for a run. This reduces procrastination and helps cement habits in the long term. A common mistake people make is believing that only big actions lead to significant changes. But what really matters is consistency, not intensity. By starting small, you avoid mental fatigue and increase your chances of success. Think of a habit you want to build. How can you apply the 2-minute rule to it? Lesson 8. How to eliminate bad habits. If we can build positive habits, we can also eliminate harmful ones. Clear's strategy is to invert the 4 laws of behavior change. If creating a habit requires making it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, eliminating a bad habit requires doing the opposite, making it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. For example, if you want to stop spending so much time on your phone, an effective way is to make it less accessible. You can remove it from sight, turn off notifications, or even use an app that blocks social media at certain times. If you want to stop eating sweets, simply don't keep them in your home. Making bad habits harder to perform increases the likelihood that you'll abandon them. The most common mistake people make is relying solely on willpower. Willpower is a limited resource and cannot be your only strategy. To truly eliminate bad habits, your environment must work in your favor. Look at your negative habits. How can you make them more difficult to maintain? Lesson 9. The role of identity in habit formation. Many people focus on what they want to achieve rather than who they want to become. For a habit to be long-lasting, it must align with your identity. Instead of thinking, I want to learn to play the guitar, think, I am a musician. This subtle change has a significant impact on how you act daily. Clear explains that every time you repeat a behavior, you are casting a vote for a new identity. If you write every day, you are voting to become a writer. If you run every morning, you are reinforcing your identity as a runner. Small habits act as votes that, over time, shape who you really are. A common mistake is trying to change habits without changing identity. When you see yourself as someone who tries to go to the gym, instead of someone who is an active person, you're more likely to fail. How can you reframe your goals to reflect the identity you want to assume? Lesson 10. The power of environment and the people around you. Our environment and the people we surround ourselves with have a massive influence on our habits. If you spend time with people who exercise regularly, you're more likely to adopt that habit. If you're surrounded by people who eat poorly and live sedentary lifestyles, it will be harder to maintain a healthy routine. Clear suggests that to build good habits, we should surround ourselves with people who already have the behaviors we want to adopt. If you want to learn to invest, spend more time with people who understand finance. If you want to read more, join a book club. Being part of a group that aligns with your goals makes it easier to adopt the desired behavior. The common mistake is trying to change alone without modifying the environment or social circle. This makes the process much harder. To apply this lesson, analyze the people around you. Do they encourage the habits you want to develop? How can you connect with people who have positive habits? Now that we understand the key lessons from the book, how can we apply them to everyday life? Here are some practical strategies. Use the 2-minute rule. Start with an extremely simple version of the habit you want to build. Just 5 push-ups. 1 page of reading. A glass of water in the morning. Design your environment. Make good habits more accessible and bad habits harder to follow. Place fruit on the table and hide the cookies. Keep your favorite book by your bedside. Track your progress. Use a calendar to mark the days you practiced the new habit. This creates a sense of commitment and motivation. Create an identity. Instead of just setting goals, think about who you want to become. Be a healthy person, instead of someone who just wants to lose weight. Involve other people. Join groups that share your goals. Having a support network makes all the difference. These changes may seem small, but it is precisely these small actions that transform your life over time. Atomic Habits teaches us that major transformations don't happen overnight, but through the accumulation of small, daily improvements. If you want to change your life, you don't need to wait for Monday, next year, or a big event. Change starts now, with small actions. By applying James Clear's strategies, you'll see that habits are not just behaviors. They are the foundation of your identity. They define who you are and, more importantly, who you can become. If there is one key takeaway from this book, it is this: small habits build great results. Now tell me, what is the first habit you are going to implement in your life starting today? Leave a comment. To develop even further, you can buy the book in physical or digital format through my Amazon affiliate link in the description and pinned comment. This will also help the channel bring you more valuable content. And if this video helped you, leave a comment and let me know which book summary you'd like to see next. Check the final screens for more compact wisdom. See you next time.